My name is Hank Cochran. I work for Alcoa Inc. in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We are the worldwide leading aluminum producer. Our products range from everything from primary metals, bauxite and alumina, on through to aluminum ingot, rolled sheet that goes in beer and soft drink cans, wing skins, fasteners, jet engine blades. All in all, a very diverse company. We also make wheels, high-end wheels for trucks, buses, and cars. So we have a variety of operations, literally hundreds of locations around the world, and nearly 100,000 employees. My role within the organization, proudly, I'm the Director of Global Credit Management. We have about $2.6 billion in receivables open at any point in time. I directly manage our staff in North America and Europe, and very strong liaison relations with our group in Australia, our group in Latin America, and other businesses around the world. As far as my role on the project goes, back when we did the project, I was the manager of global credit process. And it's still within the credit organization, but I was in a process improvement role. And when I joined into that role, I inherited, among other things, a credit reporting tool that was not functioning well. So as you know, we spearheaded a project together that has paid off in great results. I was the chief Alcoa lead on the project. You were our project manager from MarketSphere, and together we forged a tool that just keeps getting better all the time.
What was the driver and the business need for business intelligence at your company?
At a high level, the driver is that our accounts receivable asset totals about $2.6 billion, and you really have to manage that closely. Even a one-day swing in DSO can be a terrific impact on cash, either favorable or unfavorable. Managing that asset is really a team sport between the Global Credit Organization and the selling and BU organizations. Around the world, we have about 1,500 users of our tool, and those users need near real-time access to data. They log in from a variety of settings. Some log in through home office. Some are in high-rise office buildings, and still some yet are in plant environments, literally discharging the day-to-day activities of the company. The prior tool we had in place had lots of problems. It was not user-friendly, it had poor response times, it was missing some of the mid-level data groupings that were necessary for these people to carry out their work. Also, too, we could not cleanly export data into Microsoft applications such as Access or Excel. What we really had is a situation where the business unit community was coming to the credit department saying, run these reports for me and just get me the information. Well, that took us off task of managing risk and collecting receivables on the front end. And honestly, we had to do something, otherwise our $2.6 million asset would not perform nearly as well as it does, and our business unit community would have disengaged from us. Well, the solution assisted us in a number of ways. First of all, it put the right information at the fingertips of the users. It's an on-demand solution, and honestly, instead of shoveling reports to users or them having to wait for information, they go get it, download it, and act. Anytime the users in the organization have near real-time access and can put that information to use, they can spot problems and trends while they're small before they come big, and then they end up in a reactive mode. We've even had some cases where business units have adapted our reports and they actually use them in their daily control structure around their shipping departments and some of their legacy order entry and credit checking systems. We're also right now finding out just how scalable the solution is. And in fact, I'm having some additional reports developed on the platform to better focus the end users on cash opportunities and the impact of when customers don't pay us on time. Finally, I think one of the big impacts is risk. By putting near real-time information at the user's fingertips, they can better track the high-risk customers. So when a high-risk customer starts deviating from the center line, it's easier to get them back in control more quickly. Finally, a lot of our business unit users have some level of their bonus plan staked to accounts receivable performance. It draws them right to our tool, and if we didn't have the tool, I shudder to think where we would be. There are several technologies used here, all working seamlessly together. The base technology is our Oracle Online Transaction Processing application, our ERP. That's the single source of all the data. From there, we harvest the data into the global data warehouse, where it's structured through our master data management hierarchies, and so on and so forth. From there, it's presented in views to the Essbase database, solved into cubes, and presented to the users through a web analysis tool. Data is refreshed every 6 hours in our accounts receivable reporting tool. And basically, we chose that time frame because receivables management needs to be done, again, nearly real time. The way the technology works, a lot of the jobs work in what I call the back room. They do the heavy lifting and solving out of the user's view. Then there's a 30-second window where the new data is imported to the tool. The users then use Hyperion Analyzer to access dashboards, customer summary level data, and then we use EIS drill through to drill down to invoice data, which of course is much more granular. We find a lot of users actually take the data, download it into Excel and further Microsoft applications to communicate with customers, sort and dissect, notice trends, etc., etc. So it really is a very robust solution. A lot of technology coming together in a very seamless way. Well, what was delivered is a self-service, reliable reporting tool to over 1,500 users. Users speak over 20 languages in the aggregate, sit in many, many countries, and quite frankly, the tool works fine regardless of the geography or the distance from the servers. What we delivered, stated another way, is a constant source of information into the receivables performance and key opportunities for Alcoa. As mentioned earlier, we have several business units who have baked our reports into their everyday control structure. That has actually filled a need that they would have had to otherwise fill through more robust programming, interfaces, etc. So the deliveries have been very, very powerful. I should also say that we really addressed the deficiencies of the prior tool, and that has brought our service levels up, confidence in our organization up, and our results have followed. The impacts to the business have been very, very powerful, especially in the financial sense. At Alcoa, we have a receivables base of about $2.6 billion. Since we implemented the solution, we've taken our percent current from 90% to 95%. Each percent current improvement releases approximately $26 million in cash. 5%, $26 million, it's about $135 million of cash that's been stripped out of the accounts receivable base. That receivable is no longer on the street, no longer at risk, no longer costing Alcoa money for financing. In terms of DSO, that equates to about a 2-day DSO improvement overall. We've also shed further awareness on deductions and claims, not to mention short pays and discount abuse. One final impact that's been delivered to the business is lower bad debt write-offs. We sport a bad debt performance where our bad debt write-offs are 0.05% of our sales over the last 4 years. I have to attribute a big piece of that achievement first to good credit management, but secondly to the power of information that's given to our credit folks, our business unit folks, and our plant folks. The best way to get in front of a bad debt is to literally be in front of a bad debt before it happens, limit your exposure before it becomes a bankruptcy or a bad debt, and the tool has been a big help in that.
What were the primary business objectives for the customer credit project, and were they achieved?
Well, they were certainly achieved. The objectives themselves were to improve the user experience and put real-time information in the hands of about 1,500 people worldwide. We certainly achieved that. There were also financial objectives tied to the project, and really improving the performance of Alcoa's accounts receivable base. We have improved our percent current by 5 percentage points, released about $130 million in cash, and in doing so, we reduced our DSO by 2 days. I was expecting 1 day. We've gotten 2 days so far.